Explain, when you said flight, what do you mean?
Tangential flight.
What do you mean by that?
It means right now, fixed-wing aircraft, you can go in 4 degrees of direction. They go up, down. Some can go forwards and backward. Backwards and right to left. But this is able to spin around its own center of mass. Completely spin around its own center of mass. Something people are able to do it by falling, but this is a sustained system that's able to go around. I sent that other video to you. But their ability, because this is the geometry of hydrogen, any bond that hydrogen can make, linchpin can make, and what they're basically doing is building the periodic table in front of you. If you play 4 of them coming together, it's 4 like 30-second videos. I'll explain it out, but you'll see how these things align themselves. Well, this is the swarm, and they're all following this queen as a colony, and they'll do everything that she's doing. Go to the very first video. There's 4 in a row on it. Oh, that's how it came over to you. Well, let's see which one this is. This is 4 of them that's going to come together to pick up a barrel.
And what's powering them?
Right now, we're going to use hydrogen fuel cells. But I have another system, that I was going to talk about in a second. But it's an unlimited source of power. But,
so hydrogen fuel cells,
or you can use lithium batteries.
And
at present.
How are they moving? Like, what are those? Is that like are those like propellers?
Yeah, those are props. But
okay.
But that right there, what we have right there is it's a pitch. Collective pitch. So instead of the props having to turn themselves around, instead of all the props having to turn themselves around to stop and turn in the opposite direction,
like a helicopter,
they just switch the direction. So it's a collective pitch, and it changes. And so now, instead of going up, you're going down, but now 5 of them will come together. And watch what the 5 does so this is the end of cranes.
Oh.
This is and how many is necessary. And they can, since this is the fractal, they can be as small as a nanoparticle, or they can be as large as the universe, because the entire universe comes down to this. So I was trying to reach out to Elon Musk. I was trying to reach out to Jeff Bezos. Because my main goal was I was building these to clean up the upper atmosphere, all of that debris that's up there, and ultimately to mine the asteroid belt. Because you can't go out there. They keep talking about going out there. That's like you try and go that far away. That's like taking a starfish from the bottom of the ocean and bringing it up to where we are. Everything expands. The nitrogen expands too much. That animal dies. You take us outside where Mars is, nitrogen has expanded so much more. The hydrogen has expanded so much more that you will never be able to, you won't even have a spaceship or a suit on that's strong enough to keep your body together, and you will never be able to come back to 93 million miles away from the sun, because everything will have expanded, and you will expand to the point of vacuity and explode out. So trying to send a man out to Mars is like trying to send a man to live on Venus. The pressure is too tight near Venus. We will get crushed in a second. It's like being pushed to the bottom of the ocean immediately. You will get crushed immediately. The pressure conditions change as we move from the sun. But science have neglected that because they've said it's a void there. And they don't account for that higher pressure condition, but they found that radioactive decay is quicker closer to the sun, near Venus. Why? Because the pressure condition, that electric field and those magnetic fields are pushing on each other, causing it to turn back into an electric force in comparison to further away. When the Earth is closer to the sun, they found that radioactive decay is quicker than when it's further away from the sun. Is that by accident? Or is it just because of the change of pressure conditions? So us talking about going out, when my wife said on the thing, are we going to be able to put people on Saturn? No. It's too nebulous. It's expanded out too far. Our pressure, we would have to have a suit so strong and powerful in order for us to do that. But linchpin is able to make it out there because we have another propulsion system that we've put together where I'm able to take water and put it into a small change. And this patent has been granted. It's the propulsion projectile. And we patented it as a gun because I didn't want anybody else to be able to use it like a gun. But it's basically lightning in a bottle. We take water and we put it inside of a small chamber based on the wave conjugations that I have and the angles of incidence. And we run an electric charge through a small amount of water. The water is not able to expand into gas like it wants to because it's locked into the pressure condition. So immediately it converts into plasma. And it converts the gas dimension into a power dimension. So it's lightning out of the barrel just from water. And there's no end like with...
So it's a real lightning gun, like
yes,
from Quake.
Yes. So, and the patent's been granted. Typically, you're limited to how much charge you can put inside of a cartridge. And, you know, you have to get more and more charge or explosive in there to get something out. But with electricity, you can send 1,000 volts or 1,000,000 volts through the same aperture. And that water is incompressible. And so it's just going to react. And immediately it converts into a plasma. And so we can project anything into space. All of that has been accomplished, and it's ignored.
So it can act as a propulsion system for rockets as well?
Rockets, anything, and in space. And that's the whole point for it to, because there's just nothing but moisture and that collective, and ice in there. So you can now, the linchpins can go all the way past Mars, attach themselves to whatever asteroid, mine that asteroid, bring it back, and have in one of the Lagrange areas. So for the audience out there, Lagrange areas are those areas where multiple magnetic fields meet and there's no weight to something. Another death blow to gravity was the fact that it's not a constant. It could not be a constant because things weigh heavier on the poles of the Earth than it does on the surface of the poles than it does at the equator. They're heavier at the poles than they are at the equator. And the further away from the Earth you go, the less it goes. So there's no consistency about gravity. It is not a constant. It is a coefficient